Yes, yes.
Peace. Sorry it took so long. Shit, y'all got us at the most probably hectic time of our summer.
Yeah.
But it's good. I'm glad we're getting around to doing this. Whole communities at home. Noni, piece of the fam. Been thinking about my brother. Need to reach out. Uh, hope all is well. I need some beats. Nah. Nikita, peace. See
Yes,
you growing
yes.
and developing. The young goddess. Sorry I couldn't make it to Cuba. But hey, someone has to stay
I'm
home and
glad
hold
you
down the
did.
fort. Yes. Yes. Glad you did too.
Yeah.
So in your imagination, what does liberation look, feel like, and taste like?
Yeah.
First thing I thought of was a juicy mango. You know, it's that ripe mango. You know what I mean? You peel it back.
I was wondering how explicit you was about to get.
You know, it's like just it's sweet, satisfying, fulfilling. Sometimes it leaves a little residue all on your face and your hands. Um, but as far as liberation, I really feel like it feels like what we've been talking about is flow state, you know, where you're not really concerned with the past, present, or future. You're just really fully immersed into the now. And you know that all is provided, all is taken care of. You know you're on your course. You know you're doing what is right. You know you're doing what is feeding your soul. It's a knowing. Liberation is really a knowing. You know, it's a feeling, but it's also a knowing, right? And you know that you're in that flow state. You know that you're right where you need to be. And, you know, there's a sense of peace, there's a sense of ease. There is, you know, magic all around you. You just feel the magic at your fingertips. You feel the magic in your word sound. You know, you feel the magic in your thought process of manifesting and creating and visualizing the world that you want.
Yeah.
You know, that's what comes up for me first.
It feels like it feels good.
Oh.
It feels good. Well, I hear my children laughing and screaming upstairs. It feels like that there's a sense of freedom, that they're not afraid, that you're on purpose, that you are, I am um, living and doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. And that people around me, it's not just my own personal process, but in our, our liberation is always connected to other folks. So I would just add that it's also that people around me are in their flow state, that they are finding their harmony, their balance, their homeostasis with nature, with the world around us, with each other in our relationships. You know, we always talk about the internal, interpersonal, and institutional. I feel like liberation looks like all of those elements being aligned and balanced and harmonious, just, and that all of our needs are taken care of, and that we are um, not replicating toxic systems, but really living and letting love lead our way all the time. And that
Yeah.
tastes good. That feels good.
Yeah, I
That
like what
looks
you
good.
said about that's one thing. One person's liberation shouldn't shouldn't make someone feel scarcity, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like the liberation that I want to provide is a liberation of inspiration. Like, you know, inspiring those around you to reach and seek their liberation, as opposed to feeling like, damn, you know, I'm small. I can never reach that. I can never do that. Because I do think sometimes there's a way that we can present ourselves to the world that makes other people feel small. And to me, that's not liberation. Even if you are, quote unquote, feeling liberated, to me, that's not the liberation that I'm talking about.
Or that your liberation is oppressing others, because
Yeah.
sometimes that happens too, where people want to be all free and quote unquote in their world to do whatever they want to do, but doing whatever they want to do also can be causing harm to other people or to the environment. So keeping those in balance.
Freedom isn't free.
Yeah.
You know, you always have to have checks and balances, in my opinion, because we're looking for sustainability. You could be as free as you want, but sometimes that freedom, like you say, comes at a cost that is detrimental to not only yourself, but those around you.
Yeah.
So,
You want to jump to the next one?
yes.
Where do you feel most at home? Why? How has this changed over time?
It actually really hasn't changed for me. I feel home is where the love is, where I feel love,
Mm-hmm.
where I feel supported, where I could be myself. It doesn't always mean like it just is going to be comfortable. Sometimes people you love the most going to tell you the truth, but you don't want to hear at that particular time, but it's still love, you know. Like you say, I remember Mizan was like, yeah, she was at the house appearing weed by herself. She was like, yeah, it just feels like a house,
Mm-hmm.
without my family here, right? It doesn't necessarily feel like a home. And I think that's true for, most things. Like home is where the love is,
Yeah.
whether I'm in South Africa, Ghana, South America, LA,
Mm-hmm.
Oakland, Weed, California, you know.
I would also add to that too, because for a long time, organizing, organized a long time for with the All African People's Revolutionary Party, and we used to talk a lot around, as Pan Africanists about how home is Africa always, that be the center of our consciousness. And so there's a long time, but we would not say like we're going home, like we're going to the house, but we're going home and going to home, our homeland, to Africa. And so for me, it's changed a little bit in that same line of just creating, just being clear about, yes, there's a physical and continental connection that we have, but even when I'm on the continent, like I say, is a love there. And so I think home
Hmm.
is definitely that love space. And so that has grown for me a little bit and changed over time.
I would say probably 2018 is kind of when it really set home for me when we took that trip to the South. It was kind of like our
Mm-hmm.
Sankofa trip.
Mm-hmm.
And, like you say, like Mizan was saying, for so long when we organized and it's Africa, 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 but there's so much Africa in the South, in my opinion. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? There was so much legacy of Africa
Mm-hmm.
in the South that
And
we as
Africans,
and
yeah.
Africans is
Yeah.
sometimes we as Californians overlook, just from our own political consciousness, especially coming from the Bay,
Yeah.
right? The super revolutionary, super conscious, super resistant, super everything. I think sometimes we forget, like, go touch that soil in Mississippi, go touch that soil in Atlanta and understand why these were places that were colonized and why the genius of Africa had to come here to help develop those areas. I mean, they're beautiful places, the nutrients of the soil.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Even
saying?
the weather and just even the people and culture. Like,
Yeah.
when we were in Ghana, for example, it felt like places in Mississippi, you
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? Or,
New
in
Orleans
Georgia or
or
wherever
whatever.
we were,
Mhm.
so just knowing that there's that connection too.
Yeah. So that's one thing I would say is let's not forget, let's not get so conscious that we forget where home is.
Right. Or there's even this next question about why is it important for us to seek liberation in all we do? Let's not forget that is also important. And whether or not we're working towards liberation in everything we do, consciously or unconsciously, it's still impacting our liberation, everything that we do. So the way we wake up in the morning, the way we, greet each other, the way we ask for help, the way we share our resources, the way we, whatever it is we do, they're all elements that are impacting our liberation, for us to be able to play and celebrate even that, right?
Mhm.
We've been talking about a lot this summer in particular, um, and how we celebrate and how we take time to like really honor the wins that we've made
Mhm.
over the time, whether it's in our own personal nuclear family or just in good people being around and the community that we built. And
Mhm.
so, I think that having that foundation of knowing and celebrating those wins is also an act of liberation as well, too. And that's important.
I
Go
was
ahead.
talking to
What else
one of
is
my no, I was talking to one of my youngsters yesterday on the phone, and we were just kind of talking about just kind of where things are. And Spirit Works has never really been, we were frontline, but we've never been social media frontline.
Right.
We've never been like out there, like, the sexy. We were never the sexy revolutionaries, quote unquote. The sexy liberators. You know what I'm saying? And it was funny. Basically, what my youngster was saying is like, basically, Sway, that's because y'all spent more time developing community as opposed to developing your brand.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That was like if I told him if we were like talking on a podcast, it would be like a gunshot that would kind of like went off like right when he said that. Cause I was like, dude, you're right. That was never important for us.
Yeah.
For us to be the Marcus Garveys, the Malcolm X's, the Sada Secures of Oakland. We just wanted health and wellness and liberation for our people and our communities. That's why we got married. That's why we developed the family the way we did.
Yeah.
That's why we raised our children the way we did.
Yeah.
That's why we continue to move the way we move.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, it hasn't always been easy.
Yeah.
It hasn't always been easy, but I give thanks for our path because it made us who we are and it helped us get to where we are and where we're going.
Yeah.
So I give thanks for that. I think sometimes a lot of us get into this work and it's self-fulfilling. Like the healer wants to hold space because they want to feel powerful as opposed to just really holding space for the goodness of the people in the circle. You know what I mean? Like it's sometimes we get addicted to healing. We get addicted to the space holding. We get addicted. It's a high.
Or to the organizing, or
Yeah,
being on the front line, or
the
whatever
struggle.
it is, the
You
struggle.
know what I mean? It's like any other addiction.
To the
Sugar,
martyrdom, to the all of those.
tobacco is healing. Go ahead and throw that in there too. And I'm not trying to, honestly, I'm not trying to, you know, what is it? Ruffle any feathers, but it just is what it is.
Yeah.
Right? Because sometimes we're doing so much healing that we actually become unhealthy. We forget to take care of ourselves in that process. We forget to what our liberation is, right? Because we're so focused on the doing instead of sometimes just the being and the knowing. Like I said, the flow state of liberation.
Yeah. What does family mean to you? Who feels like family and why?
Family is the foundation. I feel like if we're looking at the three eyes, right? In terms of the way that we like to view liberation or oppression is, the internal self, the interpersonal self, and the institutional self. And I feel like family is like that first institution.
Mm-hmm.
So what does family mean to me? Family means this is my first foundation. This is the jump off. This is where I could see reflections of myself, sharpen myself. Family is, like you say, it's a reflection of me, right? Things that are inside of me. Now, we don't always get to choose our family, but guess what? Those things are inside of you, whether you have to unpack and decolonize the mind, okay? It doesn't matter. That's still a part of your family, right? Um, uh, what does family feel like? Once again, it feels like home to me. It feels like love, the family that we create. Although sometimes family for some, it may not feel like home. It may not feel like love. That's not the family I'm talking about. The family that I'm talking about is the family that we choose to be and that choose to create. The family that
chosen or biological.
Exactly. I guess it's more when I think of family, it's your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
It's who do you vibe with? Who do you tribe with? What's your frequency? Your family feels like the family that I'm talking about now is the family of your frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you attract? When you're out in the world, who do you attract? Right? When what do people feel when they feel you? It's just that resonance, that eye contact, just that vibration. Mm-hmm. So to me, family is a vibration, it's a frequency.
Yeah. Does the idea of family influence or shape your leadership practice, and in what ways?
Always. Like I said, it's the foundation of why we even got married. We know that this is a part of the struggle. This is part of the liberation. Are we, a part of our contribution to the world is, producing human beings that are here to make a contribution. human beings that are here to continue the legacy and pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
Like, thinking 7 generations down the line is kind of what I think about when I think about, you know, that part. How does it impact our leadership? You know what I'm saying?
As human beings that will lead with love. Actually, I think that that's when, the question of whether family influences or shapes our leadership practice. Absolutely. Because in this household, our co-leadership in our household is the foundation of how we lead even in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of how we support each other and support our young people, support our children, and the team and community and folks that we pull in different areas and work with and organize with, you know, how does the idea of family influence that? Is because it's really all about love.
Mm-hmm.
Love is that way that we want to lead. Love is the way that we, communicate with each other. We have folks who joke with us about the if we get into an argument, it's not like an argument, like we don't be cussing at each other and stuff. It's just, you know, which I can't even say it how Venus would say it. But anyway, so
Yeah.
she just has a story about, when she saw us be upset with each other, we was like, nah, brother. He was like, nah, sister. It was like brother and sister is what we call each other. We're not using other words. So in our leadership and how we even, solve conflicts, you know what I'm saying? And in public spaces, how we do that, it's with love, and we are definitely being able to grow in that as well over the years, and really just find the ways to nourish that and strengthen that and even be more clear with that so that folks just know that love is that root always.
Yeah. I mean, even our children, they have aunties and uncles, like tons of them.
Yes.
That aren't necessarily blood related, but they know that that's aunties and uncles.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're thinking about family, like I said, it goes back to tribe. I think it's just tribe time. It's not even about just blackness anymore because that's so nuanced and so non-monolithical, if that's a word.
And even becomes actually really binary.
Yeah.
And then polarizing. It's just that, because there's so many different layers to what blackness is in America in particular, but even in the world, so even beyond that about, just who's on that frequency, who's on that vibration.
Yeah. And like you said, connecting with your tribe. And then, like you say, tribes always traded with each other.
Right.
Tribe, it don't mean we can't connect with other tribes.
Right.
But it doesn't mean I have to be in that tribe because maybe there's some cultural nuances within your tribe that don't resonate with me. And that's okay.
That is all right.
You be in your liberation. Let us be in our liberation. I think once we try to start imposing what it is on each other, that's when it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
Right. So do you, we'll do us, and we'll meet in the middle. You know what I'm saying?
Call you when we need you.
Yeah. And call us when you need us.
And call us when you need us.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
You got we got the salmon, you got the goats, right? We're fishermen and you're farmers. Yeah. Like, come on now. Like, there has to be a point where it's like, okay, we're clear that this relationship is mutually beneficial and that I don't have to take over what you have. Yeah. You don't have to take over what I have because I'm sound in myself and my liberation. Mm-hmm. I'm sound, I'm good with me.
Okay. What's the next one, baby?
Let's see. What are you dedicated to making happen in this world? How does your sense of home influence that?
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things we talk about a lot with Spirit Works is that our work is really about inspiring intergenerational wellness and racial healing, and really creating experiences that transform lives. And so I think that that's one of the things that we are dedicated to doing, is creating space and experiences and opportunities for folks to tap into who they are, what they love, what they value, so that it becomes a way that they can then interact within their relationships and or create policies and practices within their institutions that can really transform. And so I think part of the work that we are dedicated to doing is like what we do at home. Is like, who are you? What do you believe? What do you value? And how do you go out into the world and then spread those values? And hopefully those values are not about greed and selfishness, but more about love and compassion and justice, um, and creativity and liberation, right? So that is that is one of the things we are dedicated to making happen in this world. There's a whole lot of things: being creative, creating our retreat space, using our art and culture to tell our story as African people through our Experience and Culture project, our affirmation card deck, all these different pieces and things that we are sharing in the world are really about spreading love and light as much as we can.
Yeah, and I think everyone has shadow, everyone has work, everyone has
Healing journey.
Man, if you were to go inside of my physical body, you'll be like, damn, let me get out of here quick. You know what I'm saying? let me get out of here quick. You know what I mean? Like Sway, you project something different from the outside. Yeah, it was because it's work. Every day is a struggle to stay in your highest self. Every day is a struggle and a commitment to just be a better person.
Yeah.
Right? To just not fall victim to the wayside of those lower vibrations, right? So saying that to say, how does your sense of home influence that? I didn't realize it then, but I really just feel like setting examples, right? A lot of my brothers are fathers. A lot of my mentees are fathers because of what they saw, right? I look at the way they father. That's because I had fire and my children and everybody with me at the schools when I was teaching, and there was an example there. There was like, oh, this brother can be compassionate. He can change a diaper. He can cook. There's a representation of something, because sometimes we can't achieve what we can't see.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I feel we have been examples in the community, and this is just from feedback. This isn't me talking. This is just what I hear. Like even making this move to weed has inspired people, and it lets people know that dang, we can make radical change and transformation to where we want to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you don't have to stay in your conditions. You can actually move, be happy, and still thrive.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to be in the box that people want you to be in. And I think that's it right there. You can have a loving relationship. You could have, you know what I'm saying? You could acquire land, and you don't have to like uh do it in a way that capitalism says.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it in a way that is
It's
selfish, undermining, not sustainable. You could
not
do
aligned
it.
with our values.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
You could do it in a way that's aligned with your values. It may not be in the time frame that you would like it to be, but you will get there eventually if you stay hold true to the path.
Yeah.
So I think Spirit Works really is just has set examples. Not examples is a bad word. A model, right? Like a picture, like a window of, oh wow,
experience.
Wow, that's possible.
Yeah.
Dang, it's possible. So I think expanding folks' mind to possibilities, right? Even for me, like when I'm looking at like Sean and Nedra Jenright, for example, like we still have people that help expand our mind, right? So I just feel like it's like a stair step. You know what I'm saying? Like even looking at C2 and the whole praxis piece, like, I'll go ahead and put it out there. I want to do something like that. I would like to get a cohort of people, pay them $30,000 and have them go through a Spirit Works process.
Absolutely.
I would love to do that, right? But I wouldn't even have been thinking about that if it wasn't for C2 and the praxis cohort. So I use that as an example to say we all sometimes need examples to expand our mind. Yeah. We get stuck sometimes in just our view instead of saying like, damn, look at all this we can do. And it's out there.
I think that's the element around why in our foundation is the words inspire and experiences, because those are two things that help to shift people's consciousness about possibilities. And I think that's central. This next question about essential value, idea, or community at the core of our work is creating experiences that are grounded in love, that inspire people and transform our lives. I think that's those are the central ideas.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? We believe love. What is it for?
Love lives at all levels. Yeah.
We have it written somewhere. I don't know exactly right here.
All right, it's one of them days.
But it's love.
It's
right.
Love, always.
You know, love isn't the opposite of hate. Love is the opposite of fear.
Yes.
And once you move that fear out the way, you know what I'm saying? You allow more to come to you. The universe responds in a way like, oh, okay, yeah, let me give you some more of that. You know what I'm saying? Let me give you some more things to love instead of some more things to fear. So, not to say that fear doesn't exist, not to say that fear doesn't pop in and out. You know, to just say I'm fearless would be a lie. I got children. You know what I mean? I got children. You know what I mean?
And we do pay attention a little bit to what's happening in the world. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
so sometimes there do be things that come up, but then that's where that faith comes in. That's where that flow state has to come back in. That liberation mind has to come back in just to recenter and reground. Like, okay, we got this. It's
and
good.
to affirm as well. Like that's, we really are firm believers in the power of words and words sound power, you know what I'm saying? And the capacity to shift our consciousness so that we can create the realities that we want to create. And that's, both on a, organizing liberation stance, but also in our household, in our family, in our organization, in our business, and all the works that happen is really just using those, that power. I think that's, I'm jumping ahead, sorry, but that's share a tool or a resource that helps operationalize our values. I will definitely say that affirmations are a big part of that. That's actually why we created our affirmation card deck is to share that tool with other folks of like, how many times do we sit and think about how scary the world is or how we can't do this or we can't do that? But even just in shifting our mind about actually not even using those words, can't, that I am powerful, I am able and capable of doing all that I desire. Just what does that do and shift in our hearts and our minds for us to create a new reality? And so that's definitely a tool that helps us operationalize our values.
Yeah, what you said. It was funny because as I'm looking at that, I think one tool that I do that Mizan calls me the ambassador, but I'm always the one talking to people. I'm the one checking in. I'm the one on the phone for hours just for no reason. Like, dang, dude, who you calling now? Like, no, I gotta check in. What's up? You good? What's up? Did this follow through? Where you at with this piece? How you doing? That's one way that I really operationalize kind of my position in spirit works.
I would say you are the ambassador, but it's just that human connection that is essential.
Yeah, after a while, I'm not gonna be responding to too many emails and texts. Like it becomes for me too transactional. I just want to hear you. I want to feel you. I want to know. I don't want to read too deep into that. But I will say on a very practical tip, the operationalize, I do personally and Mizan through media, meaning music, art. Yeah. Right. These are like the music I create. Being what I'm saying? Creative is the way we do it. Yeah. Being creative from an artistic cultural lens. Yeah. A liberatory artistic culture. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you say, we gotta, we've been doing this radical healing music. Like you say, I just got off the phone with I was texting with Fat Lip. They're over there in London right now. Far Side. They're over in London with De La Soul, The Roots, Talib Kweli. Who else is over there?
Is Arrested Development in them too?
I don't think Arrested Development is there now. Common might have been there. But the point was 3 years ago, these brothers weren't even talking to each other really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then we sat them down, Spirit Works, we sent them through a process, not only recording an album, but going through the Sankofa project, going through some of these ideas around, concepts. I am because we are. How do we create a team? How do y'all really heal up and seal up to move forward? So like I hit Lip today. I was like, I'm proud of y'all, man. I see where y'all at. And, let's never forget what could happen within 3 years. This was 3 years ago. Now I see where my brothers are at. And it's just like, man, that is a testament to the work. Yeah. Like, no doubt. Yeah. And I don't need to be on the front page. I don't need to be the one like, oh, Sway did that, Spirit Works did that. No, we catalyzed the process. There was many people that played a hand to get them to where they are now. But trust me, Spirit Works catalyzed the process for them brothers that got them to where they are right now. And I say that humbly, and it's just an honor.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's an honor. Because like you say, the Black Thoughts of the world, the Commons of the world, the Questloves of the world, they're not gonna know that. Who's this Sizwe? Who's this Spirit of Nation brother? Just a brother with a vision that loved my brothers and wanted to see them in a different position.
Mm-hmm.
So we put resources, love, and high vibrational thoughts into everything that they did
Mm-hmm.
and do and still do. And it's an impact. And Noni, you know. You know. I mean, come on. Where was Imani at 4 years ago? I'm just gonna leave it at that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I think that's definitely the tools. They're just putting creativity out and creating space for people to honor and harness their own healing journey and their own healing powers.
mhm. And I will say, interview wise, I don't really like. I'm sharing this with y'all. I don't necessarily want all this fireside stuff in there because it's kind of. I don't want to ever come off like who's this nigga right here think he is, like, I don't want that kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying? I don't want this kind of vibe. So that's just a gem for y'all to know. So you don't necessarily got to put that part in the interview.
You say that, but Imani and Lip say the same, and Trey say the same thing.
Let them say it. I don't want to say it. You see what I'm saying? Let them say that. You can interview them and ask them.
That might be a good idea. All right, so what's the last one? Oh, in terms of overwhelming grief, conflict, and stress, what tools do you use to recenter and come back to home to yourself?
The lake, nature, hiking, music, writing. If I'm not writing, I'm a different person.
True indeed.
I gotta what is it? Discharge. Right. So a lot of the music for me sometimes be discharged. I just have to write. Um and let's see. It's overwhelming, stress and conflict. I gotta remember to breathe. I gotta remember to be gentle with myself. I gotta remember that, these feelings are temporary. Feel them, take the lesson, take the download, and see how you could use that to, what is it? Transform trauma.
Mm-hmm.
What do they say? Trauma that isn't transformed is transmitted.
Mm-hmm.
So thinking of ways, mind, body, spirit, to take whatever it is, filter it through, and spit it out, for lack of a better word. So it's really about self-care. Whatever that self-care practice is for you, not the selfish, I'm so caught up in myself, but whatever that self-care practice is, massage, chiropractic, I think staying diligent to a routine is helpful. Like when Mizan's off for yoga, I could tell, right? When I'm off my physical or whatever, when I'm not gardening, when I'm not doing things that bring me joy and love, it's easier for these things to overwhelm me.
I think that's the thing. Is like, what is it that you find joy in doing, right? So whatever it is, it can't all just be work. It can't all just be sacrifice. It can't all just be struggle. There actually has to be love and joy in what we do every single day that helps to mitigate the feelings of grief and stress that are real. Like looking at this world, like, if we get too caught up in the grief and conflict and stress that exists, that comes at us through social media, through the news, through all those things, like, sometimes we have to just unplug from that and be like, what do I actually think? What do I actually feel? And having moments for that self-reflection and then connection, being able to like build with people. Like
I was about to say,
having conversations. Yeah.
Having folks around, having folks that you could process with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
Like,
if it's not somebody you know, then maybe it needs to be somebody you don't know, and a therapist or some professional support that way. But being able to speak your truth and have that be held and heard and not weaponized against you, having safe space to be able to do that is critical as well too.
And
that's part of our
yeah,
support with each other, you know.
it makes me think about the tribe and just how everything was built in. Like cultures around the world, right? Like we would go to the water, we have water dance, ritual songs together, you know, we drumming together, we planting, we going to the garden, we planting together. It's like, you know, a lot of the depression and a lot of that stuff, the somatics that get caught in our body, right? The issues in our tissues, right? It's because we're not moving.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we were always moving, we were dancing, we were grooving, we were working. It's hard for depression to settle in. It's easy for depression to settle in when you're just sitting down, scrolling, not doing nothing. You got stagnant blood in your body, things of that nature. So I think it's key to find those rituals and practices. That's one thing that I told my son. That, you know, he's, you know, 18 now, about to be 19. This is his first year on his own. And I tell him all the time, what is your ritual, your power up ritual and practice? Because I'm not going to be there. Your mom ain't going to always be there.
Yeah.
Right. And it's easy to fall in, you know, especially living in the town, you're living in deep East Oakland. You know, it's easy to get caught up out there. So what is your ritual? What is your daily practice, your daily ritual that just kind of helps build you up from the inside out?
We also think about it a lot of times of like, you know, the times of the day you could create those rituals. So what's our morning practice? What's our practice before we step into something, you know, a meeting or a new class or whatever? What's our thought process, mind, body, spirit? What do we do before we eat? You know, what do we do before we go to bed? Like there's all times of the day that we can add, that we do add elements of like a little quick power up, little centering, you know, 3 breaths or whatever it might be that helps us come back to ourselves and even just helps to sustain and maintain the vibration that we want throughout the day, right? If love is our guide, if and inspiration is our guide, and we've got all these other things that are like, no, love sucks, or you know, don't trust anybody, or whatever all these other ideas that can come into our world. Like, how do we remind ourselves of what is real? What do we believe? What do we know is true? And we know love is true. Not shame.
Not sure. I think that was the last question.
Yeah. And we'll send the pictures and stuff for you. And I appreciate y'all. If y'all have any questions for us when you're hearing this, clarify moments, you know where to reach us. We love and appreciate y'all.
Thank you for your patience.
Yes.
All right, fam.